Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling. I shall see what's going on our lovely island of Fawn Hollow today. Well, we'll be relaxing as per usual. What have I gone up to today? Nothing all that crazy. Went shopping, I suppose. I had a nice little trip down to Costco, you know, not just in America. It's in the UK as well, but of course Costco have insane portion sizes. But we have a nice little sort of canteen, which also serves insane Costco price, not Costco prices. Well, I mean Costco prices, but Costco sizes. Because I didn't even realise it, but they served a hot dog for £1.50, which also comes with a refillable 22 fluid ounce drink, which I don't even know how much that is. 22 ounce in litres. 22 ounces in litres. 600 millilitres. That's like a lot. That's surprisingly, but that's like almost a large drink at McDonald's or something. But anyway, hello everyone. Right now in Fawn Hollow, it's 5:26 PM on Sunday, July 9th, 2023. KK Slider is here, of course, because there was the bug off, no fishing tourney yesterday, which we didn't partake in, like none of them we ever do. And yeah, what should we talk about today? I don't really know. It's getting back to, I suppose, that sort of hot weather that you could expect from mid-esque, well, not really mid-esque, early July. We're almost in mid-esque July, but I don't think the 9th is quite late enough to be like, yeah, that's mid-July. I think we're still in the early stages. But yeah, what can we talk about? Hot dogs? Should we talk about hot dogs? Why not? Because it's wild. Like, I know hot dogs are cheap to make. Like, the entire sausage itself is just, like, processed, like, ground up meat. Which is, I mean, it might be difficult to make, but my assumption is it's one of the easiest meats to prepare, I assume. Because technically it can kind of be like whatever part of a pig. It's not like people are going to complain all that much. I don't know if you know this might be kind of a more British thing, but of like Jamie Oliver, there was a thing a while back, like years ago, where he was basically like trying to make school foods healthier for kids, which I suppose if you took that in a vacuum, that is a noble cause. But of course it was sort of like the way he ended up doing it was not exactly great, and also made like meals way more expensive or something, and then that made it a lot more difficult for some families to you know, afford or something like that. And a lot of the time the kids didn't even like kind of like rejected the food. I don't know, it's basically like it wasn't handled exactly the best way, which, you know, and I know people, the general consensus on Jamie Oliver is kind of like people don't really like him. I'm like, on him I don't really care, to be perfectly honest. You can go and do whatever. I mean, he's just like a person, I suppose, is where I'm getting at. You know, like most celebrities are just kind of like people to me. I have no idea about them. But that's neither here nor there. But like he had this thing where he was like, oh, you know, I'm going to show like the kids what some chicken nuggets. They were like, oh, it's like ground up like meat. It's like leftover meat. It's ground up like cartilage and like bones or whatever, which apparently is not true anymore. But whatever. And the kids were all like, ew. And he's like, it's this disgusting pink sludge. And when he like poured it out, and the kids were all like, ew. And then he like cooked it into chicken nuggets, and he was like, who still wants to eat it? And all the kids went, me. I remember us watching it, and I was just like, it's very funny. Even though it's obviously like quite disheartening, I suppose, if you're in that situation. I suppose if you're Jamie Oliver, I think at that moment you just got to kind of laugh, because I mean chicken nuggets are familiar shape and taste, and like a lot of, you know, and maybe this is like my Chinese bias showing, but of course in China a lot of the time it's basically like, you know, don't make waste when it comes to consuming animals. You know, in China it's very common to eat like all parts of the animal. You know, chicken feet is a very popular dish in East Asia. You know, things like pork tongue, liver, belly, intestine, snout. I don't know, pig ear. Like it's sort of, and I mean, I'm sure it has its roots in being like waste not, want not. So, you know, all parts of an animal or whatever. Anyway, long and short, basically a hot dog being sort of like miscellaneous meats or ground up is, if anything, like I don't think is that much of a deterrent. But and I suppose shouldn't be surprising how cheap it is. But £1.50 was insanely cheap. Like I had a chicken sandwich and that was like £4 something, which is still pretty cheap, all things considered. You know, London prices, that would probably cost like £9 or something. But to be fair, if you bought it in London, it would also probably come with an absolutely ungodly amount of like salad as well. But yeah, like £1.50 is insanely cheap for both a drink and a meal. Like it's a sort of thing where like I'm like, are you making money from this? Like, and the answer is probably, because they probably like cost like 30p per hot dog and drink to make or something. It's probably like pennies, I don't know. Costco, if you don't know, is quite a bulk retailer. They're sort of like the in between from, well, I assume the in between from like the actual raw producers to you know, suppliers. They're like a large quantity supplier which supplies to like supermarkets or retailers or whatever, and then you know you can buy there, like you can sign up being a business and get your supplies through that way. And oftentimes they introduce like a commercial license, or not commercial license, a consumer license or whatever it's called, an individual license for people to, you know, buy food in bulk as well from there, to be perfectly honest, which is, you know, cool, I suppose. But just the fact that hot dogs are so cheap is just like, wow. It's not even suspicious because, you know, I have a lot of faith in Costco as a brand, to be perfectly honest. You know, I trust Costco, but it's just like £1.50 is like astonishingly cheap. That's insane. Like, imagine it shines a whole new light, I suppose, when you go to like these stadium or like arenas, etc., and you buy like stadium food. It's like, oh, you buy a hot dog, a jumbo hot dog, and it costs like £10 or something, like 10 times the price. And it's like, oh, here's Costco selling that and a drink for £1.50. Which would be an absolute steal if I liked fizzy drinks, which or soft drinks, or okay, whatever the term is, carbonated drinks. I'm just gonna call them fizzy drinks. I don't know why. I try to change up what was too much of a good thing. I'm not really much of a fizzy drinker, or any sort of carbonated drink. I don't like the bubbles. I don't like the gas. It feels. I suppose it sort of upsets my stomach a lot more than I expect. And not just due to carbonated gas, and then, you know, you burp or whatever, you know. I have my own issues with my stomach for whatever. I don't know why necessarily, but, you know, it seems to occur. Let's not make it, like, any worse, I suppose, by aggravating it with some fizzy drinks. But, like, if I liked fizzy drinks, I'd be like, that's an absolute steal. I mean, it's a steal in its own right, I suppose, from just for hot dog alone, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, I know hot dogs aren't all that bad. Do I have any hot dog anecdotes, you might say? Jeez, that's a bit of a tall order. I do remember one time when my friend actually bought like the hot dog cinema food that you get in, like, I can't remember, one of the chains, like View or something. There's only like three big chains in the UK for cinemas. There's View, Odeon, and Cineworld. So, and which of those is my favourite? I quite like View, especially because they had a thing back in the day where the tickets would cost £6 if you were with Orange, a mobile provider, and I was with Orange, so, you know, £6 tickets, pretty good. But no, what I was gonna say was I don't really go to the cinema to eat the food. Like, there's a very rare situation I think that would ever happen. Like, I generally don't like eating food at these entertainment establishments, mainly because their food is not that good and also very much overpriced. But, you know, you're paying in convenience, aren't you? When I talked about it recently, we went to like a golfing entertainment centre, and like we ate the food there because it was pure convenience rather than anything else. We didn't really have time to go do something else. And certainly if I was like a parent, I was running like a kid's birthday party, I was like, do I wrangle all these like 16 children off to like a different restaurant and make a separate booking and make sure that everything's all lined up? Or I could just eat like the same food that we're going to eat over here for like a markup of like, I don't know, 20% or something. I'm going to be like, I'd buy that 20%, you know, whatever. Convenience fee is it's a real thing, you know. People are very much willing to pay it. But anyway, my friend got like one of the hot dogs over there, and it was not really much to his anecdote. I just sort of went like, wow, that's an expensive hot dog when he bought it. I think it was like £7 or £8. It was a large hot dog, mind you, and it did have a lot of stuff on it. It was just like, it sort of like blew my mind because, you know me, I tend to like never buy things for myself when I'm out and about. You know, you see ice cream on the street, it's a hot summer day. Most people, normal people, go like, oh, you know, I'll treat myself to an ice cream, I'll buy it. Me, absolutely not. The only reason I'd ever do it is because of my friends who'd be like, oh, I'm gonna get an ice cream, and they're like, hey, did Alan, you want anything? And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll buy something. But then half the time I'm just like, nah, I'm good. Anyway, I don't know, I live a life of temperance, it seems. But no, what was I going to say about this? Oh yeah, he bought a hot dog, so, you know, it was mind-blowing. And the one fact that I'm just like, whoa, someone actually buying like the proper meal from a cinema in the first place is crazy. And then two, he just ate it. I think before we actually watched the movie. To be fair, I didn't think he had dinner on that day, so there wasn't really much time for it. But the only thing I remember is like I can't remember, waiting or something. Maybe one of our friends was in the bathroom. He just like sat in the corner just eating his hot dog. Just across the room. Anyway, very funny memory. The other hot dog anecdote I have, and I should stop really calling these, I mean, they are anecdotes technically, but there's not really much substance to them. They're just sort of existing, if anything. But the other hot dog story I have, we went to, let me think, one of the amusement parks. I don't remember which one In UK there's a few. There's Legoland, when you go to Chessington World of Adventures, when you got Fort Park, when you got Alton Towers, and there's probably some other ones, but those are the like main ones. Was it Fort Park or was it Chessington? One of those places, I remember I was with a family friend, and we never, like, I think this is probably why I like never buy food or things like that when I'm out and about, is my parents always like, it's so like not worth it money wise, we might as well bring our own food. So every time we went to those areas, we'd bring like our own sandwiches most of the time, or something like some sort of packed lunch, or buy it extended and bring it inside. Something like that. We'd very rarely actually eat food inside, which is why when I remember buying and eating food inside, you know, probably from excessive childhood, childish. Well, childish makes it sound patronising, but I guess I was a child, literally. So, begging as a child, it sticks in my memory. Like, one of the things I remember is Chessington World of Adventures is we, there would be these like nachos and chili dip or whatever, which had like a load of like beans in it. I don't remember, fried beans, which I really liked, and I don't know if I actually genuinely really liked them, or it was more just like that was like the only food I remember eating at that theme park. But my mother, I think, has that association now that I really like nachos or something like that sort of thing, which I don't even like nachos that much, to be honest. Like chili, I think is fine, and nachos is fine. It's just not. It's not. I wouldn't put them in like my favourite foods or anything. It's quite an exclusive list, that I'd assume. But another time is, I think this must have been Fort Park, is I remember I was with a family friend, and I suppose, you know, he and I think I was just with the family friend and his mother. I don't know, I guess I wasn't with my family at that time. Maybe I was like staying around at his house or something. And then I remember you know, we had a meal inside the amusement park. Whoa! Golden Gear Tower. I can't believe it. It's a recipe we haven't learned. I remember like we were gonna like have dinner or lunch, and we had it inside the park, and I was just like, whoa, this is mind blowing. I have so much choice. What am I gonna have? You know what I had? I had a jumbo hot dog, and he had like a box of nachos or something. And I remember just talking to him at the time, being like, wow, this is like the best hot dog I've ever eaten. You might be like, how old were you? I think I was like 8 or something. You might be like, that's a bit young to be going on like these amusement parks sort of things. No, I loved amusement parks when I was younger. You know, I could not get enough of them. I was like counting down the days until I was like tall enough to actually ride on Colossus and these other big roller coasters. Yeah, I remember I got like the jumbo hot dog, and I just remember eating it and being like, wow, this is like the best hot dog I've ever eaten. This is amazing. I want to eat this every single day. Obviously, that's unfeasible. Obviously, I do not want that in actuality, but it's something I just remember. And it just sticks in my memory, you know? It was a hot dog. For some reason, I'm associating it with Dennis the Menace, but I think that's because I'm thinking of the Beano Town section in Chessington World of Adventures, which is actually Dennis the Menace themed. That's, I think, where I got the actual nacho meal from. Anyway, hot dogs. Also a staple in every barbecue. And I'm going to be honest, in a barbecue, I sprinkle a hot dog over the burger. You know, I've got nothing against the burger, mind you, but I feel like the burger bread is just too much overwhelming breadness, while the hot dog is significantly less bread. And also, I think sausages are kind of better than a burger patty. There are exceptions that, you know, Wagyu burgers are pretty good. And also, like, vegetarian and vegan sausages, I think, are better than vegetarian and vegan burgers, to be honest. With the exception, there is this type of burger, I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically like a vegetable burger with, like, some cheese in it, so it's not vegan. But it's not trying to be a burger. It's not trying to be a meat burger. It's not trying to emulate that. I think it's like a cheese and... I think it actually might be like a cheese and vegetable fry or something, or whatever it's called. I don't remember. We used to actually have it in our primary school, and I used to love them. And then I had them one time when I was a teenager at like a friend's house. I think she was like vegetarian at the time, and I was like, whoa, this is it. You know, obviously, you know, me being like a cool teenager, I didn't say that out loud and be like, whoa, this is like the lost meal, which I forgot I've ever had. What's it called? I was just internally like, this is delicious. This is like the best thing I've ever eaten. Like, it's genuinely like one of my favourite things to eat. And I don't even remember what it is. It's like the most tragic thing, I suppose, about it. Anyway, that's the only burger thing which I think is better than the sausage equivalent. I don't even know if it has a sausage equivalent, to be honest. But sausages, I just think are generally better than burgers, in my opinion. And except for, I guess, the burger ceiling goes a lot higher than the than the sausage, the hot dog ceiling. You know, a gourmet burger actually feels like it makes reasonable sense, and you know, it tastes quite nice compared to a gourmet hot dog, which I don't know if that's a thing, but I guess it is. Anyway, I don't know what I was going to say about that. Gourmet hot dogs, gourmet burgers, hot dogs in general. Like, what do you get on your hot dog? I'll be honest, like in America, it seems like a hot dog is, you know, is a ball game in itself of what you can put on it. You know, you put ketchup and mustard, both very standard things. You would see that in Britain as well. You know, you'd be like, oh, you know, I'm gonna have a hot dog with ketchup. That's like the de facto standard. And you'd be like, now I'm also gonna put mustard on it. You'd be like, whoa, you're going crazy. At least when I was growing up. You know, those are like the only two options. In that theme park as well, it's like the only two ways you can have your hot dog, with ketchup or with ketchup and mustard, or with nothing, I think. But it seems like it's a whole different ball game. I think for American hot dogs, you know, you can put a load of other stuff, like, you know, fried onions, absolutely, but those definitely belong on hot dogs. Cheese, I guess that's a cheese hot dog, so it's kind of a different thing slightly, but, you know, also approved. I don't know, like relish, I'm like, I don't even know what relish is, to be perfectly honest. I think it's some sort of sauce, but it's not something I've seen in the UK, or at least not very commonly. What else? I don't know off the top of my head. What else do you put on hot dogs? I mean, my honest confession here is I put mayonnaise on my hot dogs as well. I put Japanese... Any time which calls for a condiment, I always use Japanese mayo, or mayonnaise in general, I suppose, as my condiment of choice. And you might be like, you're absolutely crazy. Mayonnaise does not belong on a hot dog. Au contraire, anything can go on a hot dog, I suppose. I mean, like, I don't know. What's like the wildest thing you could put on a hot dog? I don't know. Like, if you could say anything that would make me go like, whoa. Like, legitimately, like, whoa. And I don't mean the Ali and AJ song. Like a hot dog with fries. Like a hot dog with rice. Whoa, whoa. Got me tasting like whoa. I don't even know where I'm going with this. But yeah. I don't know, like guacamole? Like, I'm not that big a fan of guacamole. I'm not. It's not like I hate it or anything. It's just sort of like I don't think it leaves enough of an impression on me for me to be like, yeah, I'm gonna eat guacamole multiple times. But I do like cheese on a hot dog, certainly, or a cheese hot dog or whatever. What about like baked beans on a hot dog? And you might be like, what on earth are you talking about? It's a quite quintessentially British thing to put baked beans on a lot of things, especially jacket potatoes. That's kind of like one of the go-to toppings, and toast, I suppose. So like, I don't know, why can't baked beans go on a hot dog? You might be like, what do you think about baked beans personally? I think they're fine. You know, my favourite meal that they're in is definitely like a full English breakfast, or a builder's breakfast, or whatever you want to call it. I don't really know the delineations or the differences between the specific types of breakfast, but that's pretty good. I remember at one of my friend's house back in primary school, we had like baked beans on toast for dinner, and I was like, whoa, this is like the wildest thing. Or maybe it was like spaghetti hoops on toast on dinner. I genuinely can't remember. And it was just like an absolutely normal meal, which we were all expecting or something. And I remember having a conversation. It was a wild time because he had like, he was like a family of like 4 or 5, I think 4 like sons, and that was a wild time because they were all actually there about that time. And the eldest, I think, brought his girlfriend. I don't know why I remember this. I just do. And we were just like chatting and eating like toast with like baked beans on it for dinner. Anyway, it's got nothing to do with hot dogs, but I don't know. Anyway, hot dogs are, you know, fine. You know who's the hottest dog of them all? KK Slider. And on that note, I'm going to round off this episode here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Day Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Twitter, Discord down below. Hope you see each other again. But now it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.